Greetings, folks. TMOT back again for another drive time. The title of this drive time is Daddy, What Do I Say? Christmas dinner, a childhood friend of mine came over and brought his son. He's 16 years old, and he's a junior in high school, as well as my daughter. She's 17, her birthday comes early. But at any rate, they took a liking to each other. And when it was all said and done, I was upstairs, sleeping off some of that pork. My daughter came upstairs and said, "Dad, can I go on a date?" And some other things exchanged, yada, 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 yada. And just to kind of give you the gist of what happened, I said, "Well, how did you guys end up talking back and forth?" Well, I gave him my number, he gave me his number, and he texted me, and he said he really, really liked me, and I said I really, really like him, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, "How do you know you really, really like him? You just met him today." "Well, Dad, you saw him, he's a nice guy, he was well-mannered, etc., etc." And I said to her, "Let me explain something to you. First off, don't ever tell a man you really, 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 really like him. You just met him. You don't know what's in his heart. It takes time to find out what is in a man's heart." And I use this example, and an older cat taught me this. There are beautiful women all around, just like there are going to be good-looking men all around for women. Even if I could have all of the women in the world, I could never get to them because there just aren't enough seconds in the day. So I never would have them all. What's the point of that? Well, being that there's a never-ending supply of good-looking women, there will always be somebody that looks better. What's the point of that? Well, being that there will always be somebody that looks better, never get hung up and move too fast on the one that you happen to run into. Why? Because if you take your time and get to know the person in a proper fashion, if they turn out to be a jerk on the inside, you always know there's somebody else out there that looks better on the outside. You just got to find somebody that is just as beautiful on the inside as they are on the outside. So, my young child, never ever get down with that program, "I really, really like you." You don't know him. And I said, lesson number 2, it is up to him to pursue you, not for you to come and try and pursue this or that. You let him make the moves. I'm not even going to ask you who suggested it because I don't want to know, but I'm teaching you now. And then my daughter said, "Well, Dad, what should I say?" I said, just simply text him back and tell him, "That's moving a little too fast. Want to hang out with me? Come to church." Yeah, I know now some of you are not into that, but I explained to my daughter, light and darkness cannot walk together. When one comes in, the other one recedes, and vice versa. So you were brought up in the church. Hopefully you will remain in the church throughout your life. That being said, you have a set of moral values that we have taught you that we live, that you will more than likely follow if you got good sense. That being the case, why get connected with somebody who has a different set of moral values than you do? Makes no sense. Nothing but conflict, nothing but trouble. So if the man is willing to come to church, if he finds you interesting enough that he's willing to say to his parents, "Hey, can you drop me off at church? I want to go and hang out with my daughter." I'm not going to mention her name. Then fine. So be it. And I say maybe after, that, we might have him over for dinner before we start talking about a chaperoned date to the mall or to the movies. And that's just, the end all and be all of that. And if it ever gets to that point, I said it should be because he has proven himself worthy to be with you. And then here is the last step, honey. People want most in life what they feel they can't have. A woman that a man can just walk up to and have right off the bat, she wasn't worth having in the first place, and he will not value that. Men choose diamonds over rocks. Why? Because diamonds are harder to come by than rocks. Rocks are a dime a dozen. So look at it like that. So therefore, consider yourself a diamond. Consider yourself someone who is not havable. That's right. When a man first walks up to you, you are not havable. You are not to be had. And the only way that changes is as if he proves himself worthy for you to have him. See, therein lies the key. But that is not what we teach our daughters, and this is why I taught mine. My daughter takes the kid back, told him what time it was, didn't see him at church. Now, I don't know what that was all about, but being that he was a son of my best friend, and some of you may say, well, T, weren't you being kind of hard? No, I wasn't, because I picked up the phone and I called my friend. I said, look, Chief, this is what transpired, yada, yada, yada. He said, yeah, man, I talked with my son too, and I said, well, this is what I told my daughter. And he said, yeah, and you're right. So he understood where I was coming from. And I said, and then I had to throw in there, and he wasn't at church Sunday. Well, now, Derrick, he had made a commitment to go and stay with my brother, his uncle, for this week and blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, I bet if they was going to hang out at the mall by themselves, he'd have found a way to get his uncle to, nah, Derrick, man, come on. But, I was just poking fun at him. But it's that serious, folks. And when you teach your children at a young age, then things become habit. And so, sisters, all of my daughters, those of you that would like to consider yourselves my daughters, listen to what I'm saying and understand what I am saying. When you walk around, do not consider yourself havable. When a man approaches you, let him know you are not havable. And the only way to get around not being havable is that he has to prove himself worthy of being had. It's as simple as that. When you hold a man to a higher standard, a higher calling, he will value you more. I promise you that. You can take it to the bank. And I trust me on this one, sisters. If that was all he sought in the first place, shake the dust from your sandals and keep on moving, because the Negro wasn't worth it to begin with. I promise to God, I'm not lying to you. I have never wanted a woman that I could just have right off the bat, because I knew I wasn't the first one. She just wasn't worthy. And I know what it is to play. I know what it is. So I'm just simply telling you from a man's perspective. If your father didn't tell you, I'm telling you. Leave the bums alone. TMOT, drive time till next time.